You already know someone like this, someone who works less hard than you, someone whose output, if you're being honest, doesn't match yours on a technical level, someone who seems to spend a disproportionate amount of their time in conversations that don't appear, from the outside, to produce anything, and yet somehow, consistently, almost predictably, that person keeps advancing, keeps getting their name attached to the right projects, keeps being in the room when decisions get made, and you who have delivered more, missed fewer deadlines, and handled more of the work that actually keeps the team functioning, you are still exactly where you were 18 months ago. If you felt that, you're not wrong about the gap. You're just wrong about what's causing it. Most people think office politics is something you either play or refuse to play. The people who play it are the manipulators, the ones who flatter upward, who manage impressions instead of doing actual work, who are willing to sacrifice integrity for advancement. The people who refuse to play it are the ones with standards, the ones who trust that results speak for themselves, that quality work will eventually be recognized, that the system rewards the people who deserve it. This is one of the most widely held beliefs in corporate life. It is also one of the most expensive beliefs you can carry. Because here's the thing nobody tells you when you walk into your first performance review full of optimism. Office politics is not a game. It is not optional. And the moment you decided you were too principled to play it, you didn't opt out. You just started losing it without knowing the score was being kept. Here is what office politics actually is. And it is not what you think. Every organization runs on decisions made by human beings with incomplete information. Budgets get allocated, projects get resourced, promotions get decided, opportunities get extended toward people. And in every single one of those moments, the person making the decision is working from a picture, a mental model of who is capable, who is ready, who can be trusted with more responsibility. That picture is not your performance review. It is not your output metrics. It is not the number of problems you solved last quarter or the quality of the work you submitted last week. It is a compressed, socially assembled, constantly updated impression formed from dozens of signals, conversations overheard, names that surfaced in the right meetings, reputations passed between people who have never directly worked with you, the way you framed a question in a room where someone senior happened to be listening. Office politics is the management of those signals. That is all it is. Not manipulation, not flattery. Signal management. The deliberate process of ensuring that the picture the organization holds of you is accurate, favorable, and present in the minds of the people whose decisions shape your career. You are sending signals right now, every day, whether you intend to or not. The question is not whether you're playing. The question is whether you know what signals you're sending. Think about how promotion decisions actually get made at the level above you. Your manager and your manager's manager are not watching you work. They are not reviewing your output with the same granularity you produce it. They are receiving fragments, brief impressions formed in short interactions, names that come up when opportunities are discussed in rooms you're not in, reputations assembled from a dozen secondhand observations by people whose own perceptions are incomplete. Their picture of you is not your performance. It is a simplified, socially filtered version of your performance, shaped by every interaction you've had with people above your level, every moment your name either came up or didn't, every time you were in a room where direction was being set, versus every time you were in a room where work was being executed. This is not a flaw in the system. It is an inevitable consequence of how organizations process information at scale. No senior leader can hold a fully accurate picture of every person 2 levels below them. What they hold instead are proxies, simplified representations that substitute for direct knowledge. And here is what most high performers never realize. Those proxies are not formed by your output alone. They are formed by your presence, by the quality of the impression you leave in the moments when presence is possible. If your presence in those moments is minimal, if the only signal you send is clean deliverables handed up through your manager, then the proxy that exists for you at the decision-making level is thin. A thin proxy is not a promotion candidate. It is a reliable resource. And reliable resources get used. They don't get advanced. There is a concept in organizational sociology called the visibility-credibility gap. It describes the distance between how capable you actually are and how capable the organization perceives you to be. This gap is almost universal, and it runs in both directions. Some people are perceived as more capable than they are. Many people, more than you'd expect, are perceived as far less capable than they actually are. Performance alone does not close this gap. Only visibility work closes it. The employees who advance most consistently have learned to manage both dimensions at once. They do excellent work, and they ensure that the right people understand the nature and scope of that work. They treat their internal reputation not as something that forms on its own, but as a strategic asset that requires active, ongoing management. This sounds calculating, but in practice it looks nothing like what you're imagining. It doesn't look like flattery or networking events or learning to say the right things to the right people. It looks like asking a senior leader a genuine question after a presentation. It looks like sharing a relevant insight with someone outside your immediate team. It looks like being in rooms where direction is set, not just rooms where work is executed. It looks like being known, not for self-promotion, but for perspective, not for what you deliver, but for how you think. The difference between the person playing politics in the cynical sense and the person managing signals effectively is not method. It is motive. One is performing for an audience. The other is genuinely engaging with the organization beyond their immediate role and letting that engagement build a reputation that their output alone never could. Here is the specific pattern that stalls most high performers, and if you recognize yourself in it, it is worth sitting with for a moment. You have invested everything in one kind of signal. Your deliverables are clean. Your deadlines are met. Your technical competence is beyond question. You are the person your team relies on when something difficult needs handling. You have built an identity around reliability, around being the person who comes through. What you have not built, what you may have never thought to build, are the signals that the level above you is actually listening for. Leadership signals, strategic judgment signals, signals that say, this person understands the bigger picture, not just their corner of it. Signals that say, this person's thinking is aligned with where this organization is going. Signals that say, this person is ready for more. These signals cannot be transmitted through deliverables. They require conversations, the kind that happen in cross-functional meetings, in brief exchanges after presentations, in the moments when a senior person asks an open question, and you offer an answer that reframes the room. They require relationships, not transactional ones, but genuine engagement with people whose decisions shape the environment you work in. And they require something that most high performers find genuinely difficult, spending less time being excellent at the current level and more time demonstrating readiness for the next one, letting some problems go unsolved. Asking the strategic question instead of fixing the operational one. Writing about your work in a way that connects it to larger goals rather than just reporting what was done. That redirection feels like a compromise. Your identity is built around being reliable, around coming through. Stepping back from that, even partially, feels wrong. But the ceiling you are pressing against right now was not built by your failures. It was built by the completeness of your focus on the wrong dimension. Office politics, understood correctly, is not the alternative to doing good work. It is the system that determines whether your good work reaches the people with the power to act on it. You are not choosing between integrity and advancement. You are choosing between managing your signals consciously or letting the organization manage them for you, between building the proxy that exists for you at the decision-making level, or accepting whatever proxy forms in your absence. The rule nobody talks about is not that you have to play politics. It is that you are already playing, every day, in every interaction, in every room you enter, and every room you don't. The only variable is whether you know it. The people who figure that out stop waiting to be recognized. They understand that recognition is not given. It is built, signal by signal, conversation by conversation, in the gap between the work you do and the story the organization tells about you. Close that gap, the rest follows.